Welcome to Crimson Guitars, welcome to the EMF kit build, taking a great kit guitar, I know this because we built it here, and making it awesome, hopefully. I am unhealthily excited about this build. I'm really enjoying it, and if you are watching this in July of 2018, you can win this guitar. You will have to quite possibly pry it from my cold, dead hands, because am I allowed to enter the competition? Anyway, I'm at this stage. Fine sanded front. Can you imagine if I drop that? The back plate shape has been changed. I haven't made back plates yet, but I have something else planned for this episode. I have been from day one uncertain what I was going to do on the front here, color-wise. Now, it looks a little bit anemic. The silver looks a little bit aluminium-y, maybe because it is. And I need it all to pop. And in order for that to pop, it needs to have a darker background and something interesting. And the same thing goes with the circuit board lines. If we have a stain on the timber, that will allow that to sort of look pretty awesome. And the problem is I don't want to just grab a color or two and say, okay, here we go, denim blue stain, and you've got a blue guitar with some interesting bits on it. I want to grab 2 or 3 stains, probably actually including the denim blue. And so basically, we at Crimson Guitars, we have our own range of stains and finishes and all sorts of bits and pieces. The guitar finishing oil is going to be the finish that we use, a combination of the penetrating and the high build oils. I am going to be using the spirit-based stains because I am. We have a range of the water-based ones as well. I'm saying because somehow, while talking and not moving, I've managed to get a splinter in my thumb. How? I think I hit the bench at one point, but anyway. The plan is I want to have a light grey wash of spirit stain over the maple. On top of that, I want to have a possibly a sort of opaque, some blues and some reds and some purples, maybe even a little bit of pink. Scratch that. Maybe not a little bit of pink. I don't know, we'll do a test and see. And over that, I am then going to take some of the Crimson Stunning Shots, which is the intensely concentrated stains, and I will use a 200-year-old drawing instrument to add in various circles and lines and scribe marks and things, superimposed over the circuit board design and over the guitar. And we have 2 possibilities. Possibility the first, it looks incredible, and I'm even less likely to want to give this guitar away. Possibility the second, I go downstairs and have to sand it all off. And at that point, I will also probably have to redo quite a bit of the inlay because I will have sanded through some of it. And I want to avoid that if possible. And as a result, I have a piece of maple that perfectly frames my face. So flame maple, I've fine sanded that on both sides, and I am now going to experiment. Whatever the finish, whatever color you want to do, whatever, please test it on a scrap piece of wood before you go. Unless you are 100% confident in what you are doing. Always experiment. And that is what today's video is about. Playing around with color. Okay, I have my wood in place. What I don't yet have is gloves. Wait, don't move. Stay there. Most of the stains are fine. The cherry red, it does look, for a number of days, like you have been particularly violent. No, I don't like those really, so just the one handed. Now, what I want to do is have the black Spirit Boast stone as the base. On this half here, I'm going to start with that. And immediately, we've got an incredible finish. And of course, I can see where I haven't sanded it absolutely perfectly. So what I did there is I've got the stain on that side. I've got a cleaner section. Straight away, I rub off any excess. That helps reduce blooming and artifacts that we don't particularly want. Now, we've got that. I love the phthalo blue as well. And I'm thinking that might actually work even better as a base. So the blue, but I also wanted to see what it looks like over the black. Now, we're building a cyberpunk guitar. And when you think about technology and all of that, you think blues and silvers and neon. Do you know how neon works? Neon colors take so a normal color will reflect, for example, more blue light than anything else, and that's blue. Neon blue has blue, but it takes UV color and then transfers UV light into visible light and makes the blue twice as visible. You didn't need to know that, but I like it. So anyway, that already actually looks like a finish that I would... Yeah, a black to blue. We're done, no more experimenting, let's go home. Cheers. Ooh, where's the fun in that? All right, I'm uncertain here. We have multiple different options. So here's the guitar. I could do, let's focus for one. I could try and have a traditional sunburst where we have sort of a black burst around the edge going to blue in the middle. And I do particularly like this burst, the black to the blue. I'm half thinking about adding some purple over the black at the extreme end. Another option could be we have a fade, much like that piece of wood, where it goes from black to blue at the top. And then I'll do something to continue the fade on the headstock. I've done a similar finish before on one of the other kit builds, I think, actually. But it's still fairly traditional. Something else could be, and well, everything else on this guitar is fairly unique. I could have black in the middle, fading to blue on the edges, potentially, or vice versa. And then you've got a strip of one color down the back. Did you see the guitar, the strap there? There we go. Woo, professional. That's me. That's gonna be awesome. Pink. Let's see. I am trying to step outside of my comfort zone here. I want something particularly interesting. Now, if you've watched, that was surprisingly hard to tear in half. There we go. So pink. Over the black, and we end up with a purple. So you see, the single stain, the grey at least, is actually relatively boring. Once you pick it out with another colour, so for example we've gone pink there, and just for interest's sake, let's put a little bit of this over the blue as well. And that's wiping away some of the blue and transposing over, well, turning into purplish really. Yeah, I prefer the blue. I much prefer that bright blue. I want to use that bright blue somewhere. But yeah, the purple and the black works rather well. And where do I have yellow? Always shake these before you play. Now the other idea, or the idea at least, is if you've seen the Nebula guitar, we have, it's a very, very interesting build that is based, it has, the top is, that's so cool. Haha, I've distracted myself. Okay, so that's yellow. The top of the Nebula, which I'm sure is flashed up on your screen by this point, is Burl Poplar. And it's given us a particularly interesting palette to play with. And what I did was I created sort of a galaxy style starscape finish. And that was relatively easy because it was all sorts of pearls. I'm wondering if I can do the same on here. And we have the basic burst, potentially. Although as I talk, the more I talk, the less I like the idea. And this is why we experiment. So there's the red. Now, for example, let me go and find some syringes. Oh, I don't know. It's starting to look messy. The black to the blue with the pink over the black actually is just stunning. Where are we? So you see how the blue, as I put it over the black, sort of fades the black in. We can make a convincing sunburst that way. Yeah, I like that. It's quite simple, quite straightforward. I much prefer that. Okay, but it is only the start. Now, I have this, which is an interesting tool. So what we have here is a stunning pair of dividers. Both of these legs pull out. That one becomes a pencil, believe it or not, and that one another divider head. But this head here is a scribing tool, and the two little blades, there's a little screw on there that adjusts how open or closed it is, and the two little blades pick up ink, or in this case they pick up some of our Stunning Stains shots. Now this one is actually, That's a little bit too thick now. Hold on. I do need, well, they're all a little bit too thick actually. I need to dilute them down. But this one's closer to the top. So the two blades hold the ink in between them, and then you can use it as a compass or to scribe lines. Oop, come on. Oh, there was a nail in there or something. And it makes for a very interesting effect, doesn't it? Yeah. It's just so fun. It really is just incredible. This here is the blue. Which blue is it, actually? This is our royal blue. And it's the one that I've decanted already. So you see, that's already too thick. Can you even see it? Can you see? Actually, maybe it's quite cool. Now this here has got a beveled edge, and if I have the bevel so it's down and follow the edge like that, then we don't get any crossover. So we have a big drip there that it's problematic, mainly because when I come to apply finish later, that is going to dissolve. I really want thin lines. In fact, I'm still worried about whether this is going to dissolve or not later on anyway. So there's the blue. Make sure we don't have too much on, and then it's a case of so let's, well, I'm not being too precise at the moment, I'm just playing. Just look at that. So we can just as easily straighten it out like that and do just crazy. I mean, it's an interesting tool. What I'm thinking is that sort of effect, although a lot more geometric and precise. So for example, we go 3/4 of the way through that circle, make a Pac-Man basically, and then you have some lines going from the center to the edges, some of them following through, and going out. Did I miss that? I didn't have enough. You can't let it dry. There you go. I think the idea that I have is valid and will work, but for this guitar it might not be might not be right. I just started thinking about pyrography. This feels a little bit like pyrography. I like playing around. I like doing things that other people tend not to do on guitars. I do think I want some of these shapes on this instrument. It's kind of been the plan from day one, but not to that extent. I am going to do a guitar one day where the entire sunburst is built out of lines like this, and circles and bits and pieces. And I'm going to start playing with geometry and stain in that way. For now though, this transition from the black and the blue and purple is where I'm going. I'm going to let this cure and then see what happens when I put an oil over the top of it in a couple of days, because that is part of the experiment. But for now, I'm going to clear this bench off, and we're going to stain the actual guitar. I shouldn't really stain the whole guitar now. I shouldn't do it because I haven't made the back plates. and the back plates are going to be stained to match the guitar. Surely, Ben, you can stain them later, can't you? Why, yes, kind sir, of course I can. Ha! Okay. Thank you for talking me out of that. Who needs to be smart? Think ahead. Not I. Not I cry. I cry? Okay. Fresh tissue down. I can't see any stain coming through from the mat below, so nothing has transferred. Now, I'm going to apply the stain. I'm going to buff it back, and in a few limited experiments I did before, that buffed enough of the stain off the silver to make that really shine and pop. Some of the foil is going to have to be replaced on the hexagonal sound holes. I fully expected that during the sanding. Well, I made that decision during the sanding process. What we are going to do is hit this with a little bit of sandpaper off camera, and I'm not going to call it a racing stripe, but I want to do a burst that I've not seen on a guitar. And I'm going to have it go from the blue to the purple with the blue strip down the middle, and then the purple bursting out in a straight strip. And I think that's going to look different enough, yet traditional enough. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting, or it's going to fail utterly, but I think it's going to look good. I think it's going to look good. I think I can. So, can you tell I'm nervous? There are some parts of this build where I'm gung-ho. I can grab a chisel and just chop into it, and really, I'm fine with that. It's not an issue. I do that. Well, it's what I do. Stain is outside of my comfort zone, which is weird, really, because it's fairly simple and straightforward. But I am nervous. I'm nervous. So the other consideration is, I have this bevel here, and I don't know what to do about that. I really don't. I could leave the maple bit, I could stain the maple bit and leave the mahogany, which would be a difficulty. I could leave the maple bit entirely clean and have a strip of clean maple there, which could look quite good. I could stain that blue, and have a, ooh, that actually sounds quite nice. So the bevel could be blue, the outline will be black, and then we'll have the blue in the middle again. And then I'll have to do something interesting with the mahogany, or possibly I stain all of the mahogany, everything gets a coat of the blue, and then we've only got a certain smaller points that have got black. Ooh, what do you think? What do you think? It has no bearing because I'm asking you after I've done it. I still don't know what I'm going to do. And here we have it, all done. No, not done in the slightest. Okay, stop and think, always stop and think. You might just come up with something even better. What I'm going to do, this may surprise you. I'm not choosing the easy path. The path I have chosen is long and difficult and may not work. I should have been a preacher. Okay. Brimstone and fire! Okay. As I've just described, like 30 seconds ago to you, I'm going to have a blue stripe down the middle, fading to purple at the edges. Okay, a very quick test on some mahogany with the blue, the phthalo blue. This is the first time I've ever seen phthalo blue look like dog food. It's not attractive. The easy way would be to just slather the whole guitar in blue, liberally, and then do the purple bits on the edges, and it's just all good and it's fine and it's purple and blue and stuff and we're done. That's easy. I have these fantastic bevels around the edge. We've got a carve, then we've got a hard edge up at the corner, going to a chamfer, going to a hard edge, then going to the edge of the guitar. And the same thing going around. The chamfers lend themselves very well to precise staining, except for the fact that here and in the cutaway I've got visible bodywood. This is not going to deter me though. What I want to do, what I'm going to do, is I will very carefully apply blue into the chamfer where the two halves of the body join to delineate between those two things. I will then probably cover it with shellac or something so that the black stain doesn't go in there, or just be very, very, very careful. See? Nerve-wracking. Okay? I am then going to incredibly carefully stain the hard edges on the chamfers with more of the phthalo blue. Okay? Doing my utmost to avoid staining the mahogany that is in that same chamfer line. It's going to be relatively easy here as long as it doesn't bleed, and if I don't have too much on my piece of paper, I should be fine. I'll be fine. I'm all right. It's all good. I'm not all right. Anyway, so that's the plan. If it goes well, we will have blue lines shooting through, bright blue lines shooting through and around the whole guitar, with then another burst going out of it, and we'll have the blue and the purple, and it will look amazing. If I don't do well, well, we're back thinking about dog's dinner again, aren't we? What do we want? The dog's naughty bits. When do we want them? Now. Put that on a t-shirt, Talitha. Okay, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be the dog's danglies. It's gonna be nice. And I'm not doing it today. I am going to ponder this over the weekend, and then start filming again. As if I need anything else to stress out about. Okay, thank you for watching. Thank you for being totally awesome. Thank you for supporting this video, this series. If you are watching this and you have not seen our 1,000 other videos, go back and check some of them out. The earlier ones for laughs, because things have changed a whole hell of a lot at Crimson Guitars over the last 10 years or so. But anyway, yeah, I hope it's of interest. Click like and subscribe. Please consider supporting our Patreon. And if it is still July 2018 and you're watching these as they go out, first of all, I apologize for the sheer suspense. We're not used to having to wait for things to appear on our televisions these days. But if you are, you can win this guitar. Check out how in the links below. Go to Crimson Guitars. There's a giant Summer Madness sale on. It's huge. Almost everything that we make or sell has been discounted, including some guitars. And the more you spend, the more entries you get into the competition. So go, consume, spend your money with me. Or don't. Stick around and watch the video. I'm loving the comments, by the way. I am watching this. I'm filming this, and then about a week later, the episode goes live, and I'm sitting there watching it. What's he going to do next? Because I'm now 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 episodes ahead. I'm really enjoying it as much as most of you seem to be, and this is awesome fun. This should be my job. It is. I love my life. I love you. See you soon. Goodbye.